The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for supporting our channel by watching and listening.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Yeah. NY born, NY built.
What is up, yo?
Vanilla
Happy
Gorilla,
Sunday,
Big Dog.
Another Sunday
Untouchables.
with
Let's
your
go.
favorite
Step in the
hostess
ring like kings
with
of the block.
mostest.
Gorilla grip, big dog, never stop. Iron in the veins, no gimmicks, no props. This is hard work, black top and body slops. Ain't no flash, just fists and fake. We run through ropes like we run through
It
gates.
can't be. This is crazy.
You hear that roar? That's
And
the
if
Empire
nobody at
Shake.
home knows who
We
this
the
guy is, this is the big dog. And he did get a tip from the Brooklyn Prodigies earlier on that they had travel issues, but not due to them being scared or anything like that. But oh my gosh, the Vanilla Gorilla and the Big Dog and the Untouchables just inserted themselves into this tag team.
elbows harder than a steel trash can. One shot, knock 'em flat on sight. Two beats bred for the spotlight fight. They can talk tough, bark loud all night, but in the ring, we bite and we bite right. We are untouchables, NY bred. Two fists swinging, leave legends dead. Joey bring the rage, Dave bring the brain. Together we storm like a runaway train. Untouchable, New York style. We on tap, we make 'em snap. We don't tap, we make 'em snap.
10 minutes. What is up? What is up? Happy Sunday, happy fun day, all you mofos out there. Yo, today is a fucking wonderful day. I can't believe it's Sunday already. I worked so hard this week. What do you think? I busted my butt this week, bud.
Yeah.
But yeah, so today is a beautiful day. It's Sunday. It's cold.
It is
as you
cold.
can
I will
see.
say
I have
it's
my
cold.
jacket on. It's cold out here. It's 44 degrees. It's rainy. It's nasty. It's fucking disgusting. So today we have a guest, but we're gonna bring him up in like 10 minutes after we cover our spiel because we have a lot to cover. If y'all didn't see WrestleMania and y'all didn't see the releases in the last 2 days,
So I
me and
think
Joey-
we're gonna do a whole big video on WrestleMania for sure.
So
Let's
let's start with the releases. Zelina Vega, her
Zelina
husband.
Vega, Aleister Black,
Aleister
the Wyatt
Black.
Six, all of them, not just one. You had quite a few talents from NXT.
And they weren't released from WWE. They were released from TKO.
TKO released them.
Not Paul. Not Paul. Paul didn't release them. The phone call came from TKO, and they just inherited $5.
They just made like
$1
$5 billion. So here's the list of the actual releases, and then there's a few more that aren't on here, I don't think. But you had Aleister Black, Zelina Vega, Bo Dallas, Kairi Sane, Nikki Cross, Joe Gacy, Dexter Loomis, Eric Rowan, the Motor City Machine Guns, which that's a whole nother
How do you
issue.
release the Motor City Machine Gun? You just signed
Yeah.
it before WrestleMania.
You signed them last
that's
year.
Stupid.
Last year before WrestleMania, and that's a whole nother topic.
go
I
back
could go
to
a whole
TNA,
video
or
on that.
Don't be surprised if they show up in AEW.
Now, this guy has survived the cuts for probably the last 10 years.
Who's that?
And he's finally got cut. Apollo Crews.
Apollo Crews.
He's had the longest stretch of not being cut, making it past all the releases and everything else. Santos Escobar, which everybody kind of knew already because he had been moved a few times to the alumni section. That now could that be he gets released and then he winds up in AAA? That's a possibility.
But it's still be part of WWE.
Not really. It's a different entity. It's a different company. He could wind up there. He could wind up in CMLL. He could put the mask back on. I mean, there's so many different things. Zoe Stark, Alba Fire, Andre Chase, Dante Chen. And I think the list goes on and on even more. I think there's some that aren't there listed. I'm trying to find a full. Yep. Nope, that's a full releases. There's been 31 releases in 2021 or 2026.
And that's since yesterday.
And
like And I was
Let me
watching
see.
Zelina Vega on TikTok because shout out to Zelina. I know you follow me. 'cause-
Francisco Prinsolo, Luca Crucifino, Malik Blade, Tyra May Steele, Tyreek Igwe, Tyson DuPont. Those are the names I was missing.
So I know she follows me on TikTok because I spoke to her. So Zelina, shout out to you for not being upset that somebody announced it before you even got the freaking phone call. What a scumbag he is.
Well, they did it to Andre Chase as well. Somebody
Right.
released it. A
But
lot of
then-
people released them
listen,
before they could.
A bunch of scumbags to release that I got released from a job while you're working a fucking 9 to 5 and doing nothing. You heard?
It's not even that, they're working a 9 to 5. It's they have stuff to report on. I think, and I don't blame the dirt sheets for the reporting of it. Whoever's in the office that is stooging it off to them before the talent has a chance to announce it, I think is a little messed up.
Fucking scumbags.
Because,
That's what you call a true scumbag.
Because you should let the talent tell their fans that they're gone, not you. And again, that's not the dirt sheet reporter's fault. That's not Sean Ross, Sapp, Dave Meltzer. That's not any of those guys' faults. Whoever is in the office releasing this information, just like
should be fired.
When they re-signed Paige, when they re-signed her, that got released like 3 days before she came back.
And now she's a world champ. Ain't that some shit? Released after 10 years, you come back, you're a world champion.
Well, she got released. She took some time away. She went to AEW for a few years and then came back at WrestleMania to team with Brie to give them the tag team titles, which I still think the Bellas are going to get the belts again at some point when Nikki's healed. But I think it's going to be a while.
Nikki is not healed. She has a broken ankle. She ain't going to be healed for a while because
It's about a year.
I've had that happen. I got boots for each foot. So if I wanted to, I could be a boot guy. But anyway, let's get back to the subject.
Yeah, I think the biggest releases coming out of that were the Guns and the Wyatt Six, because the Wyatt Six had such a presentation, such a presence. They did a fantastic job of just carrying on the legacy of Bray and, Bo doing his best to, I think, really embody him and take that Uncle Howdy character to the next level that the Fiend was eventually supposed to get to. I mean, that's a big, 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 big loss to WWE because there was a lot that could have been done with them had they have done them right, had they did the marketing right. I mean, they spent a whole lot of money, at Disney for the Halloween Horror Nights and gave them their own house, their own everything that was very profitable. So for them to get released to me was kind of shocking because the value of money was there for them.
Now, if I'm a promoter,
and now the Machine Guns, on the other hand,
if I'm a promoter and you released all these people, I'm putting the biggest WWE show together, and I'm gonna blow you out.
Well,
the
no.
water.
See, what's gonna happen is, some of them have 60-day no competes, some of them have 90 days. I believe NXT is 30. Because remember, if you remember the last time they did these rounds of releases, when Aleister Black got released, he was on AEW within 2 weeks.
Correct.
Because nobody paid attention to the clauses in his contract that he didn't have a no compete clause. So he was able to get right up into the mainstream again within a matter of a week, couple of weeks to a month. He was back in the mainstream. And then now with all these guys being released, that makes for an interesting concept of they could take the Wyatt Six
and put them wherever they want.
They could go to
AEW.
They could go to TNA. They could go to AEW. I mean, I think being the way the landscape of wrestling is, I think they would fit in well anywhere. I know Vince Russo has already put out a statement that releasing the Wyatt Six was not a good thing for the WWE.
Nope.
But I wouldn't be surprised if you see that gimmick and all of those, and they go to Juggalo Championship Wrestling I would
Take
not
it
be
over.
surprised.
So, guys, on that note, we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back with our special guest. It's a happy Sunday fun day, biatches.
Do you think about the way I'm thinking now? Am I thinking fine? How do you feel about the way I'm feeling? 'Cause I'm not sure I'm feeling alright. What do you know about the time that I've taken staring at this wall? What do you know about the time that I've taken waiting for the never-ending fall? Dealing with this so-called complex life. What do you think about the clothes I'm wearing now? Am I looking right? What do you know about the tech I'm repping? 'Cause I'm not sure I'm secure at night. What do you know about the time that I've taken staring at this wall? What do you know about the time that I've taken waiting for the never-ending fall? There was a time when I went there to meet you, but I left with fire. Yeah, and all our dreams lead to common destinations, and all our blood runs red. It runs red. It runs, and here we stand, trying to cope with this frustration. Dealing with this so-called complex life. Dreams lead to common destinations, and all our blood runs red. It runs red. It runs, and here we stand, trying to cope with this frustration. Dealing with this so-called complex life.
Yo, happy Sunday fun day. Yo, we are back, and we have our special guest right now. He'll be pulled up.
The interview of the week is brought to you by Jersey Mike's, a sub above.
What is up? What is up,
There
everybody?
he is.
We are back with our special guest of the week, Mr. I am the man. I am the person. I am Jeff Brown.
What is going on, gentlemen?
You
What is
tell
up?
me, sir.
I'm just out here in. You said it was cold up there. I'm down here in Tampa, Florida, living my best life. It's 80 degrees. We're sitting poolside right now. Let me see if you can
Well,
see behind me. Yeah,
yeah,
we're up
I
at
thanks.
wish I
poolside,
was
just
sitting
enjoying
poolside
life.
right now.
Thanks. I appreciate you sitting poolside. Meanwhile, we're sitting in my alcove with I got my jacket on with a cigar, by the way.
There you go.
So, Mr. Jeff,
Tell me.
I've been following you since you were with
Well, before you get into that, how was PCA?
yes.
PCA was a banger of a show. It was my second show in 2.5 weeks. Just about 2 weeks before that, I had a booth set up at the TPE show. So we were there for that. And then the week before that, I was in Nicaragua. So there was no rest for a while there because they had that show over the weekend last weekend. So,
Right.
and we flew back, went to the show Monday. It ended Monday around 4. We ended it around 1:30, 2 o'clock, hustled to the airport, and was back to work on Tuesday trying to write all the purchase orders and figure out everything that we bought at the show. But it was a very well attended show, lots of new stuff coming out. Got to see a lot of old friends and just had a great time.
So now I gotta ask you this question because he's my brother and my best friend in the world. Did you see Matty Rocks?
Oh, I saw Matty Rock. He was holding it down at the Drew Estate booth every day. Obviously with Matty Rock, it's a different getup.
Of course.
So he was there. He was there with Peter. Just as soon as you walked into the booth, that's the first two people you saw were him and Peter.
That's
Just
scary.
handing out cigars to everybody that walked by. It was
So that's kind of scary to
That's
have
a
Matty
scary.
hand you
That's a scary
hand you
thought to
cigar
have
and
him
say,
and
"Hey,
Peter.
how about trying this one?"
well, yeah. Now they had 2 cigars they were handing out. I can't remember what they were.
It was probably the
La Tigra?
Undercrown El
Nope.
Tigre, and then
No, you
Oh.
had to go in. You had to go into the booth to get that. They were handing out, I think, just an Undercrown Shade and an Undercrown Maduro. But the El Tigre, you had to go in the booth to get that.
did you smoke that? Did you happen to get one of those and try it yet?
I don't want to talk out of school, but I got it about a week before the release. So
How the
yeah,
hell
I
did
had
you
it.
get it?
So for those who don't know, how was it? Because I'm curious.
No, it's fantastic. I mean, it's totally different from what Drew usually does. It's got all that Dominican love in it, not the Nicaraguan love, but still, I mean, it's a damn good cigar. And I'll tell you, I mean, I smoked a lot of cigars at the show, and I can't think of any other than some flavored stuff that's not in my alley. But I mean, everybody out there is making really good stuff. It's just hard to pick what's really 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 good. But there's a
Right.
lot of good people making great stuff out there.
So now let's get back to
I'll
you.
let you go into what you were going to ask
Let's
now.
get back to you, Mr. Jeff. So
Let's do that.
what happened? And me and Joey already spoke to you, but I want you to tell the viewers what happened with you from the beginning until today, how you established yourself. And I know how you established yourself, just not even talking to you now, but from previous. How did you
Well,
establish yourself from then until now?
let's go back to the beginning, and it took me almost a little over 20 years to finally find my final home. But I started in the cigar business about 20 years ago at the famous smoke shop in Easton, PA. And I started out with those guys as a store manager for them. And the deal was, if I ran the store well for a year, that because I happened to speak Spanish, that I would become a part of the international thing that Famous Smoke Shop was doing. So after a year, I got to travel almost every month. 1 month was Nicaragua, next month's Honduras, Next month's the Dominican, just developing all the private labels that are still going strong and famous today. And then after a while, I was asked to run the restaurant and retail store and get away from the travel. And so that wasn't my cup of tea. I did not enjoy the restaurant life and, being there till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning and worrying about food dishes coming out right and all that good stuff. So I parted ways with them, and I was scooped up quickly at best cigar prices, and I was with those guys for another 7 or 8 years. And we parted ways as friends, you would say, and went out on my own for a while. Did a company called cigarsamplers.com, where I was just putting together, different 4-packs, and then I started buying closeouts and, was selling all kinds of stuff. And then I had an issue with my partner there, so I dissolved the company, gosh, probably about a year or so ago.
Yes.
And then I started working for a wholesaler, which I enjoyed, but I was living up in Allentown, PA, and they were all the way down in Philly. So I was driving an hour and 40 minutes every day, each way, to and fro. So I was spending over 3 hours a day in the car, sometimes 6 days a week. So when you're spending, 18 to 20 hours a week in the car, the quality of life isn't great. So I respectfully resigned from that company, and I got a call from some of my friends at Good Times Tobacco down here in Tampa, and they said, "Hey, we want to start up a premium division. You've been buying and marketing premium cigars for, 20 years. Would this be something you'd be interested in?" So I talked to them, and long story short, here I am. I've been here for probably about 4 months now, and I'm working for just a banger of a company. These guys, a lot of people in the premium world never heard of Good Times Tobacco, but we're the 5th largest producer of machine-made cigars. You got your Swisher, your Swedish, your Altadis, your John Middleton, and you got us. And we produced a little over 1.1 billion cigars last year out of our factory in the Dominican.
Wow.
So,
Shit.
yeah, it's a lot of cigars. But they're all, they're the machine-made, the backwoods type, the
Right.
blunt wraps, things of that nature. But, I'm just happy as heck to be here. An awesome company, great ownership. And just recently we went through an ESOP where basically they've given the company over to the employees. So there's about 80 of us now that are now owners of Good Times.
Well, that's cool. I mean, we asked you to come on. Joey asked you to come on. He's the CFO. I'm the CEO. But you sent us a bundle of cigars, and I got to tell you, Jeff, this cigar
It's delicious.
is delicious. When I tell you delicious, I've smoked cigars, and I smoke cigars because we order from you. And I got to tell you, this is one of the better cigars I've smoked throughout. I got 10 humidors sitting in my lounge that the cigars are still sitting there because I'm not ready for them yet. But this cigar that I'm smoking, the GTO cigar, is really, really good.
Yeah, that's our one and done. And there's 2 companies. The Good Times is the Good Times, but I am basically buying and doing everything with gtcigars.com, which is short for Good Time, but gtcigars.com is our website. And what I did when I was in Nicaragua a couple of weeks ago, or about a month or so ago, we decided, what you may or may not know is most of these cigar makers, they usually make about 10% extra. So if somebody orders 100,000 cigars, they'll make an extra 10,000, just in case, something's wrong with the first batch, or if somebody's ready to order them quick again, they got another 10,000 sitting off to the side. So sometimes, shit happens, and I go down to these factories, and as long as I don't say what factory it's from or what the cigar is, they'll sell it to me for a very reasonable price, and I can in turn take it, put it in a bundle, slap a sticker on it, and sell it to the rest of the world at a very reasonable price. Because what you're smoking is easily a $10 to $12 cigar. Because I personally know what it is, and I know what it retails for, and I think I'm selling a bundle of 20 of them for less than $50.
Yeah, I think it was on the website. I think it was like 47,
Yeah,
46 or 47.
47 for the Robusto and 49 for the Toro.
Which,
So
again, for this cigar, that's
Tremendous.
cheap.
yeah, it
and not
definitely
cheap
is punching.
that's not cheap in a bad way. That's cheap in a good way for the consumers, because you're getting a great quality stick for a insane deal.
So Jeff, what are you smoking?
I am smoking Ramon Elones from my buddy AJ Fernandez. This is a banger of a sleeper of a cigar that most people don't know about, but it's delicious. And what AJ makes for everybody else is just crazy good. Like he does most of these foundations cigars. And I'm repping Foundation today because it was Nick's birthday yesterday, so I got the Foundation gear on.
Very nice.
But yeah, I mean, to go back to what you were saying about the PCA show, I acquired some Saka sticks while I was there. The new Ricky Rodriguez, West Tampa, and shout out to Ricky because he's like 20 minutes away from my house here. So
Yes, Ricky
Shout out
is
to Ricky's coming back
Ricky is
on
coming
our
on the show.
yeah, I got his new barber shop right here. That's
Is
a
that
banger.
a box press?
It sure is.
You know what?
That's it.
I hate you.
So
I love you, but I hate
it's funny
you.
because I met Rick years ago, and it was right after this is how long I've known him. It was right after he left. It was his last CAO event. He was getting ready to leave and start West Tampa.
Well, no. Let's reframe that. So we met him on a Thursday.
Yeah.
He retired. On Monday, he said, "I'm back at work again."
And that's when he started West Tampa.
I said, "What the hell are you?" I texted him. I said, "What the hell are you doing?" And he goes, "Bro, I can't sit around." I said, "Bro, retire." He goes, "I am retired." I said, "No, you're
well,
not."
Technically, he is, because he has said numerous times that this is he likes keeping it small the way it is, because then it's more fun for him.
Yeah, he's coming by my warehouse on Tuesday.
Very
so
nice.
I'll tell him hello from everybody.
So
Absolutely.
Now, let me ask you this. How is the warehouse going? I seen when you put up the walls.
Yes.
When you put up everything, how is that warehouse going?
Oh, it's done. Now things are starting to trickle in now, but I turned the spigot on this past week. I've got a lot of product that's going to be coming in. I mean, people that go to gtcigars.com now are going to see about 10% of everything that's coming in, but
wow,
it's a little over 7,000 square foot. I've been messing around with the heat and humidity. Being in Florida, it's a different animal down here, so I actually had to put in 2 5-ton air units into the space just to get the temperature right in there, and I also had to pump up the humidity as well. So, but now it's right as rain. Every morning I walk in, and it sits at 68 degrees with 68% humidity. It's perfect for cigars.
So now let me ask you this. Do you think the missus, hello, Mrs. Brown, I know you're watching because Jeff is on here. So do you think the missus is going to want to sell a house and move to Florida?
1,000%. She actually spent many years in the panhandle of Florida. So fortunately, she has a job with the depot where she can be remote. So it doesn't matter to her where her office is at, as long as she's got an office. So we're going to end up here in Tampa actually sooner than later, because we just found out this past week that my son's actually going to graduate early with his 2 majors from Penn State. So
that's awesome.
The timeline is moved up significantly. So
that's in June.
Well, he's going to graduate actually in December, I believe, instead of May of next year. He's going to graduate in December instead of May. So my company actually shuts down for 2 weeks in December. Everybody gets off basically from mid-December to the first couple days of January. Then we're back at it. So he's coming down to intern with me in June, and we're going to see if it's a fit for him. If this is something that he wants to follow his dad in the world of tobacco, we're going to find out soon enough.
So, wait.
Does he smoke cigars?
He sure does. Him and all of his buddies. They're all 21, and they're all, getting together. They had like a draft party the other day, and all of them were smoking cigars and having a couple cocktails.
That's awesome.
So let me ask you this. So being that your son's following you, my son is following me for some deranged reason. Everybody wants to follow us in the cigars. What's that about, Jeff?
Well, I mean, it's a wonderful industry once you get into it. And, it's a very tight-knit community. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody sees everybody at the shows. Everybody does events. Everybody advertises and works with a bunch of different companies and stuff like that. But, I mean, it's just a solid, great group of people. There aren't many dickheads in the cigar world. Everybody's just, genuinely nice and very passionate about what they're doing and the products that they're making. And honestly, there's only a handful of people out there that, if you go to the bottom rung of everything, there's only a handful of people who are actually producing premium tobacco for the cigar world. You got the Plasencias and the AJs and the Agronosas, that they're making tobacco for a lot of different people out there that are blending. A lot of their cigars are coming from basically 5-6 different growers of tobacco leaf.
So let me ask you about the boutique cigar company. Like
which one?
I'm going to ask you about several of them.
Okay, because I could tell you about Domain is up and coming.
Yes, they are. We actually interviewed him. Very knowledgeable guy.
Oh yeah. Him and I are we're going to be working close together. And then I got a sleeper, Chamali. You don't know.
And
you had them on.
I interviewed them and had him on. Man, dude, those two. Now that you brought them up, those two companies are very
tremendous,
underrated.
And nobody realizes
very underrated and
Domain,
both very knowledgeable.
Nobody realizes Domain quit his job, moved to Nicaragua, opened his factory.
He said he built the first vertically integrated cigar factory in Nicaragua where they do everything in-house but the boxes.
Yes.
Yeah. I was there. I sat with Daniel and went through his factory and everything else, and I was super impressed with the guy. And then we met up at the show, and I told him, I said, look, I have reach that nobody has. Because we come from the mass market side of the world, I can get his product in, hundreds of thousands of places across the U.S. We have 42 salesmen that are out on the road all the time pushing the good time stuff, and we're going to add another 40 just to push the premium stuff. So we're going to have tentacles all over the U.S. with the premium cigars.
Well, listen, like I said, I'm retired. If you need any help in New York and New Jersey, just hit me up. I'm available.
Gotcha.
But on that note, we got to take a break, and we'll be right back with our guest host, Mr. Jeff Brown.
All right.
Whatever happened to the brave young soldier? He was a good friend of mine. They say as he died, he never once cried, lying with his brothers there by his side. At 19 years old, he was sent off to war, not really sure what he was fighting for. So he fights for what's behind him and his brothers beside him. Together they'll weather the storm. 9 long months later and he's still alive. Fought several long battles you shouldn't have survived. Then the IED exploded as the ambush unfolded. He laid there bleeding as his brothers all died. Whatever happened to the brave young soldier? He was a good friend of mine. They say as he died, he never once cried, lying with his brothers there by his side. Reinforcements arrived in the nick of time. Old Doc had found him and called in the nightline. He awoke in the hospital, they patched all the holes. Too bad they couldn't fix the ones in his soul. And 16 years later he locks all the doors, unable to find anything worth living for. His family has left him, he feels society rejects him. With a bottle and a pistol, he falls to the floor. Whatever happened to the brave old veteran? He was a good friend of mine. They say as he died, he sat there and cried, with only his memories sitting there by his side. Brothers and sisters, we can't lose this war. Have we forgotten what the hell we fought for? Pick up the phone, don't knock on the door. 22 too many, we must carry on, fighting these battles until they are won. We know that we walk on the edge of a knife, but one simple call can save a life. Whatever happened to the brave old veteran? He was a good friend of mine.
Yo, what is up? What is up? We are back, Turnbuckles and Stogies Pod. Follow us on all streaming networks. And we are here today with our host, the big dog, the Vanilla Gorilla, and our special guest, Mr. Jeff Brown from GT Cigars.
So let me ask you this, Jeff, because I'm curious now that you, like you said, you kind of headed up the premium division for Good Times Cigars. You know, I know you have your bundle cigars now. Are you guys looking at maybe doing your own lines and your own branded cigars?
100%. We're working on, we're trademarking some stuff right now, but we're going to have some kick-ass, just regular house blends that are going to be great. These one and dones, like I said, once they're over, you know, I move to another company and buy their inventory. So we're going to have some stuff, and then we're going to have some really high-end stuff as well. Some really nice piano finish boxes and some great cigars. Probably going to have, you know, AJ working on that, or Natsa Factory working on some stuff for us. So yeah, we got some good stuff coming.
You know, I was wondering because when you said that, you know, you guys had started doing these, I was like, oh, I'm like, if they're doing these, I wonder if they have their, you know, their mindset on potentially doing their own runs of cigars. Now, when you guys do that, are you going to put them out in retail shops? Are they only going to be able to buy them from you guys?
Like, where can we find them throughout New York, New Jersey?
They will
possibility at some point.
Yeah, they will be out in the market. Like, I'll tell you real quick, like right now we have like a 4-prong monster that we're working on, and currently we're doing what Good Times does best, and we're working with wholesalers. We have 850 distributors across the U.S. that buy our Good Times product. So we're reaching out to those folks and letting them know what we're doing with the premium cigars. So first, the big push is going to be getting out the wholesalers, and that's going to be a lot of volume and honestly not a ton of profit. But then we're going to go next to our retail chain. We're in over 157,000 gas stations across the United States. And I'm not saying that these are great for gas stations, but these fresh packs and the little 2-packs and stuff like that are going to be great for, the retail outlet. Plus, there are retailers out there that when they see my pricing, they go to the website. You can enter a portal for wholesale and retail, and you put in all your tobacco licenses and all that, and you can buy, it at less than direct to customer. And then we have our direct to customer channel, which is going to be one of our last things. Wow. We're also going to have a cash and carry. We're going to open up the front door of that humidor, and we're going to let the public come in and shop all the stuff that we have inside our humidor as well. So that's kind of the plan for the future.
That would be, when that happens, that would be kind of cool for us to, make a trip down there, maybe spend like a day and film some stuff and kind of just see how that would work.
Sure.
That would be very interesting because I've never seen a company like that, like you said, open the essential, door to the biggest. We did, but it wasn't to that extent of a magnitude.
Correct.
It wasn't to like a 7,000 square foot.
We opened up.
We did the event that Smoker Zone did in Pennsylvania quite a few years ago for Black Friday.
Okay.
They opened up like their warehouse to the public, and they had all the reps there, and the reps were selling cigars. It was basically just an event.
Mike was there.
Like it was a cash and carry deal that day, but I don't think it was normally like that in general. But the fact that you guys are actually going to be doing that is going to be big.
Yeah, we're going to do it every day, and we're still working on the model. It might be something like a Sam's Club type thing where you get a membership and you come in and buy, cigars at wholesale.
Right.
And currently it's just boxes. Eventually I'm going to get into buying the bulk where I'm building 5-packs and,
Right.
different samplers and stuff like that. But that's down the road. We're still hiring people and still just trying to figure out basically the wholesale channel. And then we're going to get into the other stuff. But we've been fulfilling a lot of orders from direct to customers.
That's
those
good.
one and dones are going crazy. I have a lot of stuff from Altadis, the Romeo, the General. I got stuff from those guys. I've got, I'm carrying a full line of Saka stuff. Foundation should ship Monday to me. I got a bevy of Rocky and I got Drew Estate already, but I'm still
Are you going to be
missing
carrying Crown Heads as well?
down the road, not right now,
Okay.
because they're not. They might be popular in some places, but
Right.
overall, they're not. They're not. People aren't calling me up. Wholesalers aren't going, "Hey, you got those Crown Heads."
Right. Right.
They're like, "Hey, you got the Romeos, you got the Monte Cristos." Yeah. We got that. So, yeah, we're gonna be eventually. We'll carry a lot more SKUs than what we're doing, and for me to go out and chase after Chamali and Domain, is just something that is going to enhance the margins for the retailers and wholesalers that are out there.
Right. No, those brands, are very, like I said, we had them both on, and both guys very knowledgeable.
100%.
Both guys very knowledgeable, and cigars backed it up 100%.
Yeah. And I got this new release, this Christian Arroyo, the St. Louis Ray 30th. I picked up one of those and I smoked it the other night, and it is also a fantastic smoke. Like I said, I'm not smoking
I'm trying to get Christian Arroyo on here.
Yeah, well, he's out there. I don't know.
A lot of
how
them
easy
are
it is
tough
to
to
reach.
nail down.
Yeah. Christian's got a lot going on.
Because we had Hector on from Espinoza, and I told him next we got to have him.
Sandwich?
Oh, I haven't had that in a while. I was like, well, we have to have you and Eric on, and he goes, yeah. He goes, you can have me on again. He goes, Eric's going to be kind of hard, and so is Jack.
Yeah, they're always. I mean, Jack especially is traveling. Eric's traveling a lot. Eric's it's no secret he's opening up a place in the Dominican too. So he's going to have a lot of his time spent over there, just building infrastructure and getting tobacco and all that fun stuff over in the Dominican.
So now, let me ask you this question.
Please.
So what do you think about the tariffs that they're doing with all of these?
All like the Nicaraguan tobacco and stuff like that. And I think
all of that stuff.
I think that's why part of them are moving to the Dominican Republic now too.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's, the tariffs, especially Nicaragua, I believe it jumped all the way up to like 28% or 30 some percent. Now it's back down to like 18% or 15%, somewhere around there. Honestly, it's just another line item. And unfortunately, it gets passed on to the consumer. Even when they lower the tariff, most companies just leave their price the way it was when the initial tariff hit. So, it's a cost of doing business, and you're in Nicaragua, you've got great tobacco, great soil, great country, great people, and unfortunately, things like this happen. But there's speculation that the next move that the U.S. is going to make is they're going to go to Cuba and open that up. And then I also hear that Nicaragua may be on the map as well for going and doing some things there. So maybe that has an effect positively on the tariffs. I don't know.
Yeah, because I know a while ago there was talks of companies moving to Dominican Republic with not only with the tariffs coming down the line. This was a few years ago when these kind of rumbled talks started, and they had said, with all the civil war and stuff going on, and eventually the tariffs going to come out. Everybody was looking to kind of already branch into Dominican Republic because they could create the same cigars from the Nicaraguan tobacco in the DR for a lesser price, so to say, without all the tariffs and taxes and everything else.
Yeah, I mean, labor in the Dominican Republic is it's a multiple of what the labor cost is in Nicaragua. But when you throw the tariff on there, it kind of balances it out or makes it a little bit worse being in Nicaragua. And it's the uncertainty. You don't know if the tariff's going to go up again. Is it going to go down? Is it going to disappear? You just don't know. And it's hard to work a company in a country where there's a lot of uncertainty. So I understand why people are doing that. There's also people that are just going next door right over to Honduras. Like the Plasencias have factories, Nicaragua and Honduras. AJ is right on the border with his other factory in Ocotal, which is only like a 20-minute drive to the border to get into Honduras. So, I mean, I could see people, if this lasts for a long time, either customers are just going to get used to paying a little bit more for the cigars, or the manufacturers are going to figure it out and move to a place that's more accommodating for tariffs for themselves.
Right. Yeah. No. Because I've also heard too that, like you said, the factories that have, the people that have factories in different parts of the country, whether it's Nicaragua, Honduras, somewhere else, what they're doing a lot of times now is they're shipping their product made in Nicaragua over to Honduras or somewhere else so that it's cheaper for them to get it to the consumers.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's no secret to it. I mean, when S-chip happened, a lot of people tried all sorts of different things. They would put two cigars together with just a wrapper in the middle, so you could cut it and you would get two cigars. There's all sorts of, I won't say gimmicks, but there's people are thinking of ways to obviously try to lower the cost as best they can.
Right.
But unfortunately, a lot of people, this is a luxury thing. This isn't a necessity.
Right.
So, are you going to pay, an extra 50 cents or $1 for a cigar? Probably, but you enjoy them more often, maybe not. So, it's quite the catch-22 that the cigar world is in right now is like, yeah, I want to smoke cigars, but, I can't afford, an $18 cigar or so every day. I can afford maybe a $6, $7 cigar, and
absolutely,
you're getting a different thing. I tell you, I love what Steve Saka makes. I just love his cigars.
So do I, but
They're not, they're not friendly on the wallet sometimes, but they're friendly in my mouth. So
No, absolutely. And you know,
same thing with Nick.
again, there's a lot of Nick stuff I wanted. Like, it took me forever to try the Tabernacle. It took me forever.
It's a banger.
I think it was the Goliath, the little Perfecto.
Yeah.
Because again, New York pricing, we get killed.
Sales tax.
It's 75% sales tax on top of what you're already supposed to pay. So if that cigar is $4 wholesale, I have to then pay, because then it's 75% of that. So it's $7 or $10, whatever it is. Then they have to put the taxes on us. So that $10 stick now becomes, like you said, 18, 19, 20 bucks. And it's like, I couldn't justify it. And not that it wasn't not that it wasn't worth it. It was just like, I would see it and I'm like, I want to buy it. And then I'd see the price and I'm like, you know what? I'm good. I'm like, that's not a knock on him because I smoked his other stuff.
Yeah.
But it took me forever because it was like you said, the pricing of it was just like, I couldn't do it. And the same thing with Saka. I love Saka cigars. When he released the red Sober Mesa, did I pay $18 or $19 for that cigar quite a few times? Absolutely, I did. Did I pay $18 for the red meat lovers with the gold writing? I did.
So now, let me ask you this,
Yeah.
Jeff.
Well, I can tell you that, go ahead, buddy.
How are your pricings with your cigars?
I am very competitive. I won't say that I'm the cheapest in the land, but I'm definitely not the most expensive either. I look at major retailers online, and I try to make sure that I fit with what they're doing.
Okay.
And some things are obviously price protected where you can't discount it. But like right now, you go to my website and you put an Ashton in your shopping cart, and magically 30% is going to fall off the price.
Wow.
And I have a good bit of Ashton right now, and the what is it, the ESGs? No, the VSGs. I have a lot of those. Those have been flying off the shelf since I put them 30% off.
Holy shit.
Yep. You just go to checkout and you'll see all the magic happens at checkout. You look at it and figure, oh, that's just a normal, price, but
Joey's going to check it out.
I just want to see. I just like looking. I like looking.
Take a peek. You'll see.
I mean, I did look, especially after I smoked the first one of these one and done. I did go on and look because I'm like, well, what's the price of them? Because if I want to order them, I want to know, I'm like, I wonder how much it's going to cost. And then I looked, I'm like, that's a great price.
What's the price?
He said it. There's like 47 for
the Robusto, 49 for the Toro.
And they're only in Connecticut and Habano, I noticed.
Yes, that's all this person had at their particular factory. So I took it all. I took a couple thousand bundles, and they're going like crazy.
Damn, they really are flying off the shelves.
How much are the VSGs?
I'm looking at what's out of stock on the sizes for the VSGs. There's holy crap.
Yeah, that stuff's going fast.
Yeah, look at all the out of stock stuff.
Holy shit.
All the different sizes out of stock with the slashes through them.
Yeah, people got excited when they found out it was 30% off.
Listen,
yeah, I mean that's
the way, and people don't realize, Jeff, that's the way to promote your business. Give a discount to everybody.
If you can do it.
If you can do it. If you can't, then hey.
Well, there's if you if you're so inclined, if you go to the website, I think there's a place. I know there's a place for a coupon code. If you put in, you can only use it once, so you got to use it wisely. But welcome 20 gets you 20% off of any order. That we're doing. We were advertising, on certain places on the internet right now, and welcome 20 is a valid code to get you 20% off of just about everything except for something that's like you can't double dip on the Ashton, unfortunately. But
right,
there are most everything you can use welcome 20 for, and you can get 20% off. So maybe that offsets that that nasty New York tax that you have.
Yeah, and it's funny because people ask us all the time, how do you combat the taxes? I said, well, I do buy here. I said, but a lot of times I drive over to Connecticut, I drive into Jersey, I drive into PA because I'm only an hour from each border.
Yep.
I'm like,
Yeah,
I just order online.
Yeah, back many moons ago, when we had Best Cigar Prices, it was actually a New York-based company, and in one weekend they got out of New York just because the tax, and it's the floor tax in New York. They make you pay if you're a retailer in New York or you have a shop in New York. When product comes in, you have to pay the tax before you even sell it. So
and then you got to then you got to add that tax on to your consumer to make that money back.
yeah, and it's a shame, but it's especially tough if you're trying to buy a couple $100,000 or $1 million worth of inventory,
right?
And before you could sell one box, you have to pay the state of New York their share. So
yeah, it's not a feasible market for tobacco, unfortunately. Granted, there's a lot of cigar shops and smoke shops that pop up, but it's not a very feasible market to have one in or to own a cigar business in, because whether it's selling your own cigars or producing your own line, whatever, it's just not a feasible place to do it.
No, I mean the taxes will they are what they are, but unfortunately or fortunately, a lot of people have moved out and moved on and done other things in the state of New York. So same thing holds true for California. There's a lot of extra taxes and stuff like that out there as well. So
Jeff, on that note, we got to take another commercial break, and we'll be right back with my man Jeff Brown.
All right.
I pledge my allegiance to her, from sea to shining sea. She held her torch to the sky to give the world liberty. What about us? What about we? What about living the American dream? What about love? In God we trust. These are the things they want us all to believe. What about us? What about we, the people? What about us? What about we, the people? The people walk through the streets, holding up protest signs. Try not to repeat our history. Maybe no one will have to die. What about us? What about we? What about living the American dream? And what about hope? Trust God, let go. These are the phrases they want us to believe. What about us? What about we, the people? What about us? What about we, the
And we are back, everybody. We are back. So while we were on commercial break, Jeff, I was talking to my dad, and I wanted to reference the thing you did with Cigar Dojo. You did
Okay.
the stock the humidor game,
Yes, you
essentially,
are
as I
correct.
call it. Now I know you put a lot of big brands in there. If you had to add any boutique brands, what would they be?
Honestly, I would look at West Tampa is an up and comer, and Ricky's been out there. He's got some new products coming out, so that would definitely be one I would add. I think I had Domain in that group, and I'm not afraid to talk about Chamala either. They're doing it right. The owners have spent a lot of time in Esteli, basically just living there, working and working on some stuff. So, yeah, I mean, there's so many, good stuff out there and so many good people, like I said, making great cigars that, it's hard
Right.
to miss with almost anybody you pick.
Now, did you have a chance
And
at the
given
show
the
to
stuff that
try
I
Cayman
smoked of
cigars?
Espinosas, actually, Cayman is made by these guys at Domain, so
Right.
I'm assuming that they're going to be similar in profile, but I did not get a chance to smoke that one at all.
Their story is very interesting.
He's a retired cop from New York City.
We actually no, he wasn't. He wasn't
he's
a
a
cop, was he?
retired cop.
Oh, he actually was. We actually interviewed him. They came on our show.
He was on our first year.
No, Cayman. We just did Cayman a couple weeks ago.
Cayman. I'm sorry.
He's thinking of another brand.
I'm sorry.
No, Cayman. Their cigars were delicious. Their story is very interesting. About what they do and their profits, and they donate them back to, I forget what it was. It's like
they donate them back to the country.
Yeah, to build, I think, schools and stuff for kids. Like it's their story is amazing on what they do and how it came about, and it's pretty cool because they go back and forth to the Cayman Islands a lot, and they're based out of the islands. And he said, I think at one point their goal is to build a factory down there and have just a strictly made Cayman Island cigar to grow tobacco and everything.
Yeah, it back in, I want to say like the 40s and 50s, the Cayman Islands used to produce a lot of cigars. So it's not far fetched.
Right. I didn't know that, and I told when he was explaining like what the Caymans are to us and everything, and the significance. I'm like, I've always heard of the Cayman Islands as where rich people go and store their money and you can't touch it. I said that's always been the mystique behind the Cayman Islands. But their cigars, I didn't know their cigars were made by, I don't know if it's all their cigars. I think it's the doubloon. It's the new one they came out with, the Tortuga, and then the box press one they just did.
Mm-hmm.
I think those are all made with Daniel.
Yeah. Yeah,
But,
I saw a lot of the Cayman stuff when I was at his factory last
Yeah,
month.
they're very good. I mean, that's another brand that, they're doing it, like you said, they're doing it right. And
there's a lot of, not a lot, but Fuente, obviously, with their charitable foundation, they do a lot of good work in Dominican, and the Placencias as well do a lot of work with school kids and building schools and making sure these kids are taken care of.
no, it's good, and now I know boutiques are an up and coming thing. How do you feel about the boutique industry, I should say, about the boutique cigar industry?
Oh, I love it, but it's really, it's a hard road for these people to go down.
Right.
Because you're basically, at the end of the day, you're competing for shelf space inside of a humidor. And there's certain must-haves that, almost every cigar shop, you have to have them. You have to have the Monte Cristos, you have to have the Romeos, you have to have these brands because that's what people who don't smoke cigars recognize.
Right.
So and they have a lot of programs for people, and they do a lot of swag and giveaways and promotions and stuff like that. But where you get somebody like, let's just pick Domain. It's difficult for those guys to get out and do events, and they don't have a sales force out on the road and stuff like that. So they're looking to somebody like me to help them with the distribution arm of what they got going on. And I certainly embrace the opportunity with some smaller companies like that as well.
No, and like I said, I've followed you for a while now, and you've always had fantastic marketing to get new brands out onto the market, or if you're bringing new brands into a company, like the few times I've seen you brought in new stuff when you were with Best Cigar Prices, you made sure that they got like you said, they got that marketing exposure.
Yeah. Well, it's different when you're an internet catalog company. The only thing that you're constrained by is how much space you have in your warehouse.
Right.
So, these guys, if you bring in, 50, 60, 100 boxes, it's not really putting a strain on the humidor. But if you have a retail store and you try to bring in, an extra, all the facings for a new brand, you've got
Right.
companies like Perdomo that, they basically set up and say, you got to have, 4 different sizes, 4 different wrappers. Now you're looking at 16 faces, and they call
Right.
it the Perdomo wall, and it looks great when it's done. But sometimes, it's difficult for a smaller company to get in a cigar shop because, they're fighting for all that space in the cigar shop.
Right. And it's a good thing you said that, because a lot of, like you said, a lot of these companies require you to buy, like you said, 4 different sizes, 4 different wrappers, and then it becomes, instead of one shelf, like you said, it becomes a wall.
Yep. Yeah,
And
and there's
then
some manufacturers that their opening order, they're like, well, you got to spend, $10,000 on your opening order. You got to spend $7,000, $9,000, $12,000. And if you're, a smaller retail store, sometimes that's cost prohibitive to do that. That's why, we have a portal set up on BT stars for retailers. There's no minimum. You want to buy, one box and put it in your shop and give it a shot, go crazy. We don't look,
right.
I don't care about their minimums, because I'm going to be a good thing for people that have retail shops out there that want to try some of the smaller stuff, and they don't have to worry about, a minimum buy-in.
Right. And that's a big thing. Like, when we interview a lot of these smaller companies, like Daniel and like Chamole and Sean and the crew over there, we ask them for the shops, or people wondering who own shops that are watching, and we ask them what their minimum is. And a lot of times, like you said, they have no minimum, because they just want them to get them in the shops and try them and get them in the hands of the consumers.
100%. Yeah. No, but then again, you look at other companies like, Padron. I think it's around $10,000 to open up an account with Padron, if they'll open you. So there's a lot of people that, Padron and Fuente are historically number 1, number 2, back and forth with each other in retail shops across America.
Right.
And if it's a $9,000 or $10,000 commitment that you have to give to Padron, it's kind of difficult to carry the full line of stuff. Same thing with honestly with Fuente. They're like, well, here's, I'm one of Fuente has not opened up a direct account since the 1980s, and they just opened me up a couple months ago.
Wow.
So we're direct with Fuente. I'm still working with Jorge Jr., with Padron, and a couple other companies I'm still working with. So it's even with my buying volume and buying power, it's difficult. And honestly, Padron's like, I don't care how big your company is. We don't want to be in the wholesale channel. Fair enough. I understand, and I respect what you're saying. Lido's the same way. Lido doesn't want to be in the wholesale channel. He wants to be direct to consumer, or, go into retail shops. He doesn't want, he doesn't want to have that. I had the same conversation with Christian. I only have so much production that, in January, I figured out how many cigars I was going to have to make for the whole year. And you show up and you want to double my output. I don't have the rollers, nor do I have the tobacco in place right now to go ahead and fulfill your complete orders. I can give you a couple boxes here and there and stuff like that. I'm like, we'll take whatever we
Right.
can. And next year, we'll work on, being bigger with you.
Right. Right.
There's
Well,
that
you know,
10th Jubilee from Dunbarton right there.
Oh, I heard that was delicious. I heard that was delicious.
Yeah, not bad.
Not, and again, it's funny because it's not surprising, and a lot of soccer stuff, like you said, I enjoy. Like you enjoy. It's there's big brands out there that a lot of us enjoy, and like this podcast is more for bringing. We would love to have the bigger names on, like Saka, like Fuente, like Padron. Eventually, if we can get there.
Yeah. Well, and again,
we do a lot of.
I mean,
focus heavy on boutiques.
Well, 100. I mean, and that's again, as long as they can find somebody like me that can get their distribution for them. Like I said, we have the tentacles across the entire United States, and people. Daniel obviously did his research. Daniel's a very smart guy.
He is.
He did his research and he looked up the Good Times Company, and he was like, hey, I think I want to work with you guys because I see the potential here. I see the potential. We do at Good Times, we do a dark wrap cigar that's getting ready to come out real soon, and the demand for this thing is through the roof. We can only do it once a year because the tobacco has to sit in a polone for almost a year and get nice and dark for this wrapper that we use. And it's a machine-made cigar. It's like a backwoods. You got the flavors, the Russian cream, the vanillas, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But, people want it so bad. I only have 50,000 cases that I can sell to across the U.S.
Wow.
So what we're going to do is anybody who wants a case, they have to pick up 4 boxes of what we say premium-wise. So if you think about it, 50,000 times 4, that's 200,000 boxes that I can get out into the world just by making them buy it.
Right, and now is that you said that's going to be a machine-made cigar, correct?
100% machine-made, yes.
Okay. Now it's funny. Earlier you were talking about these aren't good for gas stations, but like the fresh packs and stuff are. So there's a gas station that's probably 45 minutes to an hour from me. That when I'm down that way, I stop. I walked in. This is gonna blow your mind, Jeff. We walked in. There's a regular gas station. You have your stuff on the right hand side, like the convenience stuff. You have your register here, and on the right is a full walk-in humidor of cigars. A full walk-in.
I'll tell you, I mean, that guy is. That person is seeing ahead of the curve.
It blew my mind because a friend of ours had told us, and I only saw the little stand-up sliding glass humidor. And I said, "Oh, that's all the cigars you got?" And the guy goes, "Go open that door right there." It's a smaller humidor, but he's got a ton of product. Like, dude, I found Rocky Patel Super Ligeros in there that I haven't seen, and I can't tell you how long. Original runs of like the Asylum 13 Pandemoniums.
Yeah.
Like it blew my mind. And he has, do I have my wallet here? I do. This is what's even funnier for the whole thing is I still have the card in here. I don't know if they still do it, but they have a card for every 10 cigars you buy, you get one free.
Wow.
They have a punch card. I'm like, I've never been to a store or a gas station that is a punch card for cigars.
That is awesome. Now the thing is that you may or may not be aware of, like a lot of stuff is being regulated out of the convenience stores. The snuff type stuff is being regulated heavily. Now you have to go through a bunch of hoops and stuff like that. We just launched We call it GT Plus, and it's like a nicotine delivery system that you put in your mouth and has different flavors and stuff like that. And we had to go through a bunch of hoops to get that FDA approved and stuff like that. So all the glassware and the vapes and all that stuff is being regulated out of the small smoke shops and little gas stations, and they're looking for alternatives to make money. And
Right.
premium cigars is a great place for them to make money. They can pretty much they double their cost, and they're not getting that with a lot of the stuff that's disappearing, and we're trying to fill voids for people all over
Right.
the U.S.
And it's true because every gas station now I go into has some sort of stand-up humidor.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually the one little single, as I call it, small cabinet that has probably 10 or 12 shelves. And I've always noticed it's always Oliva, Nub, and maybe some Macanudo in there. That's usually what they get because they get it from the distributors.
Yeah, they get it from, I call them trunk slammers. They get guys that go to a distributor, pick up a bunch of boxes, and go around to their little
Yep.
stops and open up the trunk and come in. 1 month or 1 week that might be this, and when a box runs out, they'll come in with just a totally different box and put it in there. There's no set planograms or anything like that for a lot of these little shops out there, or not even shops, just convenience stores. But I'll tell you, Rocky is doing something really interesting right now. He's calling it Tubex, and he's got all these humidors that are just single cigars, all in a tube that would do great in stores like that, or even golf courses across the
I've
U.S.
seen those. They had a few over here by me. They worked great. The problem was they either weren't humidified properly, however it was.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not blaming Rocky, but when we would get the cigars from them from the gas station, and again, I had told that to whoever was supposed to take care of them wasn't. You would cut them, they would crack, they were breaking, they were dry, and I'm like, and then everybody's like, oh, we're just gonna get rid of them. I'm like, don't get rid of them. I'm like, but they need to come check it, and make sure that there's water and stuff in it.
The Rocky is sending all those out with Boveda packs. Now, whether they dry out over time,
right?
But again, that's the hard part about going into smaller places where you're not in a pack that stays fresh for a long time, because there's serious education involved in selling premium cigars, even if it's Macanudo or Romy or whatever,
right?
Or you can get, I know Swisher tried with Drew Estate to do things in fresh packs with like the Cubas and the Blondies and stuff like that.
Yep.
And if somebody's just like, oh, I'm looking for a cigar, and you hand them, a Cuba or a Blondie, and they're not expecting it, they're probably not going to enjoy it.
Right.
By the same token, you walk in and go, I'm a pretty seasoned smoker. Oh, well, here's some Macanudo. They're just going to laugh at you, because Macanudo is obviously a much milder thing than most people are used to.
Right.
So, there's education involved, and hopefully our salespeople will be out on the road and be able to give these people sell sheets so they can at least talk, high level about cigars that they're putting in their shops.
Right. No, and I think that's a big thing too, is having the reps know what's going on and knowing about the cigars, because I've had conversations with some reps, and I'm like, and I'll listen to them talk, and I'm like, what do you even, what are you explaining to me?
Mm-hmm.
Because some of them are like, they either know or they have no clue whatsoever, and it's like, how do I, the consumer, know more about the cigars than you do when you sell them?
No, 100%. But I'll tell you, I'm going to take advantage of it when the time comes. But I've already got offers from J.C. Newman, Rocky Patel, Ashton. They want to hold classes for, our reps and say, let's talk about our portfolio and let you smoke some different ones and try different things, so you get an understanding when you go out on the road, that you could talk about, our particular brand and have confidence doing it.
That's the fact that they're willing to do that is big.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Because they know that somebody who's educated is going to push that product more than somebody, if they have 10 different brands and they only know 2 of them, they're going to really push those 2 brands unless there's money associated with the other ones.
Right. As we're winding down here, is there anything else you want to share with anybody? Anything else upcoming that you want to share? Anything you guys are doing?
Well, I think I mentioned most of it, but one thing I didn't mention, and one thing I'm going to be working on when it comes to the private label and stuff like that, I've already got samples, test samples in some of these manufacturers' hands. We're going to be coming out with our own GT alternatives. They're going to kind of be, alternatives to some of the popular brands in the U.S. that are going to be dangerously similar to the actual brand, but they're going to be significantly less expensive.
So almost kind of like what JR used to do.
They still do it.
But yeah, okay.
They have knockoffs or something like that. JR calls them.
Right.
Yeah, we're going to call them alternatives, and they're going to be alternatives to, like I said, some of the bigger. It's tough to be an alternative to the little boutique stuff, but the Romeo Whites of the world, they're not that difficult to make taste similar.
That's actually pretty cool. So you've already kind of kickstarted their premium cigar brand, plus you've also kickstarted their premium cigar side as well.
Oh yeah, 100%. That's what they pay me to do. So, I know nothing about, well, I wouldn't say nothing, but I know very little about the Good Times, products themselves, the blunt wraps and things like that. It's not in my wheelhouse. But when it comes to talking about the premium side, that's why they brought me down, because honestly, there are several people. First of all, there's probably 10 guys that smoke cigars every day in the office, and now they're ecstatic because we're actually carrying the cigars, and they don't have to go to the local shops here in Tampa.
Right, they can walk right into the warehouse and go, "I'll take one of those, thank you."
Well, they can buy one of those. Let's put it that way.
Right.
But, I get a lot of samples and stuff like that the guys get to try, and some of them like them, some of them don't. They get to try the alternatives that I'm bringing in, before we launch them and things like that. So, but no, we actually have been technically in the premium business for over 25 years. We've been buying, Plasencia's tobacco. We've been buying tobacco from just about everybody. Our machines take about 4,000 pounds an hour. So, we buy literally millions of dollars worth of tobacco from a lot of these guys that, are out there making premium cigars every day, and we use it in our Good Times product.
That's interesting. That's very cool. So as we're winding down, one of the few questions I like to ask towards the end is, when you cut and light your cigar, what's your favorite kind of cut to use? And do you use a soft flame, matches, torches? What do you prefer?
Well, what I'm using currently is this brand new Cohiba cutter that I got from Big Sean, the Cohiba rep. This thing is like butter. So it's a double guillotine. I'm not a big fan of the V-cut. I'm not a big fan of the punch. I'm not a big fan of scissors. And honestly, I know deep down inside it's better to use a soft flame, and even a cedar spill is the best way to light a cigar. But I got this Espinosa triple torch right here, and that's what I'm using.
Is that the bomb?
That's the bomb. La Bomba 601. So, but I can tell you that to do it properly and to get the right taste and everything, it's best to take a piece of cedar like that, light it on fire, and light your cigar. But if you're outside golfing or something like that, this is the way to go. I would say 99% of the people will use some sort of torch. A soft flame is actually better, but the ultimate is using a cedar spill to light your cigar.
Okay. No, you know what? I like hearing everybody's opinions on that, because there's some people that swear by they'll only use torch lighters, they'll never use a Bic. There's people that'll use a combination of whatever, and a lot of people just say it's whatever they have handy. If they're in their car and they have matches, they'll use matches. If they're, they have a Bic handy, they'll use that.
Yeah. No,
know,
I
and
mean, there's a science behind it, and the cooler the flame, the cooler that initial hit is of the cigar,
right.
and it's just better. That's like the argument about, do I keep this in cellophane or do I take it out?
Yeah,
There are people that have been making cigars for, generations, and all their cigars come in cellophane. There's a reason why it comes in cellophane. Don't take it out of the cellophane unless you're going to smoke it.
you know what? That's the same. I can't tell you how many times I've had that argument with people, and they're like, my cigars went bad. I said, did it come in cellophane? Yeah. I said, then you should have left it that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
You
or
know, I'm
like
like,
this cigar, this new one from Christian comes in paper, but there's no cello on it, and there, like I said, there's a reason. Like this one isn't, if it's covered in paper, one of the reasons when you go to stick this cigar in your pocket and you're heading out the door, you damage the foot in it possibly.
right.
When it's in paper or when it's celloed, you're not gonna damage the foot if anything. But
Right, because I've
cellophane
been guilty
is
of grabbing them, shoving them in my
semi-permeable.
pocket, and running out the door.
Yeah, yeah. Cellophane is semi-permeable. It brings in humidity and it will give off humidity if it's overly humid. So
Right.
why not use it?
No, absolutely, and that argument is a argument that will go on for the end of time, because everybody has their own opinions. I had somebody tell me that I should store my Nicaraguan cigars at 75% humidity because that's they store them in down in Nicaragua.
Yeah, that's
And
wrong. But anyway.
I looked at him and was just like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah, I mean,
He
I
was
know
like,
a little
"Yeah."
bit about.
He's like,
about
I had the
this.
opportunity to buy a factory, and I told him no because I didn't want to do it. He goes, but you should store them at 75% or 75 degrees. I'm like, what? I'm like, no. I'm like, if you like smoking sponges, you can store them at 75 degrees.
Yeah, now I keep, for distribution purposes, I keep everything at 68. Sometimes it'll go down to 67, which is perfect for,
Right.
storing cigars and letting it travel across the U.S. But at home, I keep everything around 69, 70, and, you don't have any problems with that whatsoever.
Yeah, I
Some
keep
people
mine mine personally are between like 68 or 65 and 70. That's where I kind of run mine, depending on the season.
Yeah, and people
In the wintertime, I run it a
can't go
little
wrong.
higher, and then in the summertime, I run it lower.
Yep.
It's
Yeah,
just
you can't go
a matter
wrong.
of what you want it at.
Yep. There's some people that believe in taking the cigar out. If they're going to smoke it tomorrow, they'll take it out of the humidor and just let it sit for 24 hours outside the humidor. Then there's people that buy stuff that don't believe that these big companies that, have millions and millions of dollars worth of inventory, they gotta get the box and then they gotta put it in the humidor and let it sit for a month in their humidor before they think it's time to smoke it.
Yeah,
That's
I've
what you
seen that
believe, then
too.
God bless you. Go ahead, go crazy. It's
I've
ready to
seen
smoke
that too.
today, but
Yeah,
you
but
want to wait a month. Go ahead.
yeah, you know what? That's a whole nother issue for a whole nother time. But Jeff, I want to thank you for your time. I appreciate you coming on. It's been a
I
blast.
appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys having me.
Absolutely. You're somebody we've been trying to get on for a little while, but with our timing and always being booked and stuff, I'm glad we were finally able to make it happen and have you on. I'm sure this won't be the last time we have you on. But again, thank you. We appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing what else you do for the Good Times brand.
Thank you very much. GTcigars.com. Welcome 20. Save some money.
Remember that, guys. Welcome 20 and go get your Ashtons on 30% off now and use that code GT20 on everything else.
There you go. All right. Much appreciated, Joey.
Yes. Thank you, Jeff.
All right. You guys have a great day.
You as
Talk
well.
to you soon.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye now.
Life is like a duck. Tough times don't last, but tough people do. Here at Military Broadcast Radio, we're teaming up with our friends at Die Tired, the veteran-friendly music band spreading strength, resilience, and mental health awareness one shirt at a time.
And check this out. Their brand new shirts feature broadcast beaker right on the breast pocket. A reminder that you can weather the storm, and you're never alone.
Shirts are only $25, and proceeds support giving veterans a voice. MBR's mission to teach veterans how to podcast and videocast. Because when our vets are talking, they're not overthinking. They're not second-guessing. Together, we stop the 22 stigma. Grab your shirt today at mbradio.us and hit the shop. Or go directly to toramerch.printavo.com/merch/dietiredband. That's toramerch.printavo.com/merch/dietiredband.
Suit up, stand strong.
Remember, we're unduckable together.
You're built tougher than the storm.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.